Hey, yo! What up, dudes? And welcome to an unboxing of the Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering box sets. I bought this off of Amazon. This is the 4 different Lord of the Rings pre-con commander decks. They're not all available. If you try to buy these individually, they're not available on Amazon, but the pack of 4 together is available on Amazon somehow. I'm not sure why that makes sense, but apparently it makes sense. Looked for these individually, and only one of these was available, and it was like $120. But the pack of 4 was $250. So I just bought the pack of 4, and we're gonna unbox them. I'm gonna keep one for myself, and then I'm just gonna send the 3 other ones to the boys, and we can play Commanders. Magic the Gathering together. Uh, I don't think any one of us in our group has played Magic before. I played Magic very, very briefly when I was in middle school. So we're talking like year 1999, maybe 2000. I don't own any cards anymore, but they released this Lord of the Rings stuff, and a lot of our favorite content creators have been getting into Magic, and so I'm a compulsive shopper and I have no self control. So we have all 4 Lord of the Rings Commanders decks, and we're gonna open them one at a time, and we're gonna see what's up. So here we go. Up, the first commander deck is called Riders of Rohan, and the front is a kind of like holographic of Eowyn, Shield Maiden. So this is what the front looks like. It's kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but that is a holographic card on the front of the box. Looks very cool. And on the back, there's the text here: Eowyn, Shield Maiden. Eowyn protects her homeland of Rohan as a skilled rider and a Shield Maiden. When her uncle King Theoden restricted her from clashing with the forces of Mordor, she disguised herself as a man and astonished the battlefield with her combat might. And you remember from the movies, I am no man, right? And she kills him. So let's open this up and see what's inside. So first thing we see is that we got a couple pop-out counters. There's a +1/+1, and looks like a flag of Rohan. I'm not sure what that's used for. I don't know Magic, so I have no idea what any of the... Well, +1/+1's kind of obvious, but I don't know what that little flag is for. So we'll figure it out. And inside of here, it's kind of a lot of empty space, actually, in this box. But let's pull stuff out. I can't pull it out? What the fuck? What's happening here? I feel like this is supposed to slide out. Ugh. Okay, so this does slide out. It was a little difficult to get out. Not going to lie, this internal piece didn't really want to slide out, but it does slide out. We'll just toss this to the side. So now we just have the internals, and on the side flaps, this flap has 4 +1/+1 counters on it, presumably for some character abilities. And this side, 4 more +1/+1. So we have 8 total +1/+1 counters on the side. Well, 9, including the one on the top, and the flag token, which I don't know what it's for, but there we go. And then this is the inside. I'll flip this around. These are perforated. These pop out. I have no idea what they're for. Maybe we'll figure that out later. So under this side, this is what is the left-hand side of the box, but I'm turning it around so you guys can see it. It's my right side. It looks like we have... This looks like it's a deck box. It is a deck box. Comes with like a pre-made deck box. Pretty cool. You just literally... It was laying flat, and you just open it up, and it's ready to go. Deck box. There we go. So beautiful. We'll put that over here. And on this side are the cards, of course. I'm not going to pop these out right now because I don't know what they're for, and I'm going to maintain the integrity of the boxes because, again, I'm going to mail 3 of these out to my friends. So we are just going to leave that be. And there's a pack of cards in there as well. So we'll leave that be. We'll put this on the side. So here is the deck. I'm going to flip this around so I can look at it. I have no idea what this is. This looks like this is just a dial that has numbers on the side. I have absolutely no idea what that is for. It goes from 21 to 40. And then on the back side is from 1 to 20. I'm assuming there's some in-game mechanic that works for. This looks like a rulebook, maybe? Or maybe a playmat? Eowyn, Shield Maiden, playing the deck. Oh, this like tells you how to play it. It tells you the rules of Commander. And the back is like some art. Eowyn and Aragorn. Why are they aligned? So like just some rules of the game. That's cool. We'll just put that back over here. This is the deck of cards. Eowyn, Shield Maiden, right in front, obviously. This deck of collector boosters. I'm gonna hold on to this. I have a couple of these. These are about $40 a pop. It's a little different. This came with the deck. This is one that I bought from the store, and this one that I bought from the store feels like it has more cards in it. But I think we'll just do a separate video opening up just the collector set. This pack that I bought from the store was $40. This one came with the deck. So we'll just do an entire collector's opening video separately. So I'll put this to the side. I'm not going to go through every single one of these cards. Commander decks are 100 cards deep. So I'm not going to go through all 100 cards. But I'm going to assume the cool cards are on the top. And we'll just go through those real quick. So the first card on top of the deck is Eowyn, Shield Maiden. 2 colorless mana, a blue, a red, and a white. Legendary creature, Human Knight. First strike. She's a 5/4 creature. And her text reads, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if another human entered the battlefield under your control this turn, create 2/2/2 red Human Knight creature tokens with trample and haste. Then, if you control 6 or more humans, draw a card. So that's the commander. And then you have Aragorn, King of Gondor. Another holographic card, very cool. 1 colorless, blue, red, white. Legendary creature, Human Noble, Vigilance, and Lifelink. He's a 4/4. When Aragorn, King of Gondor, enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Whenever Aragorn attacks, up to 1 target creature can't block this turn. If you're the Monarch, creatures can't block this turn. Very cool. So off the top of the deck, these are the 2 holographic cards. Off the top of the deck, these are the 2 holographic cards. Eowyn, Shield Maiden, and Aragorn, King of Gondor. Now, I don't know what else is even worth it. Erkenbrand, Lord of West. I don't know any of these people. Theoden, King of Rohan. This deck also has a Theoden, King of Rohan. I'm just going to go to things that I recognize. There's 100 cards in this deck. I'm not going through them all. It's really just going to be characters then, or just art that I think is really cool. Denethor, Stone Seer. Call for aid. Gondor calls for aid. Of course, Gondor calls for aid. Great card. Or great art, I should say. Gimli of the Glittering Caves. Here's a Gimli card. I can't imagine that's the best Gimli card in the Lord of the Rings set. It's a 1/1 dwarf. Gimli of the Glittering Caves, legendary creature. But he is only a 1/1, which I find surprising for a character like Gimli. But he does have a pretty good text. Double strike. Whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Gimli. Whenever Gimli deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. So he can beef up pretty good. Gimli of the Glittering Caves. There's also a Boromir, Gondor's Hope. Oh, there's a bunch in a row here. There's a couple in a row here. We had Boromir, Gondor's Hope, followed by Eomer, King of Rohan, and Faramir, Steward of Gondor. What else do I recognize in here? Yeah, 100 cards. We're not going to go through. And I'm not going to know what everything means either. I think that rules one tells you how to play the deck, like how it's supposed to. These are all lands. Oh, here we go. Another copy of AON Shield Maiden. Okay. These are all token cards, treasure tokens, and the ring. So at the back of the deck, there's a second copy of AON Shield Maiden. It is also holographic. A bunch of tokens, and then there is a token, the ring card, which has a bunch of effects as well. So there's 100 cards in this deck. I'm not going to go through all of them, but this is a pretty cool look at the Riders of Rohan Commander deck. I'm going to go through all 100 cards in each deck. That's a little excessive, but I am just going to read this little snippet of like the way the deck plays and the mechanics of it. So playing the deck, AON Shield Maiden. The forces of Gondor and Rohan have forged an enduring alliance. This deck overpowers opponents with the sheer size of its armies. Muster a huge force of human soldiers and knights, then charge into battle. Claim the Crown of Gondor to draw more cards and replenish any losses your army suffers. So this seems like a lot of little guys, and you just hoard them to death, basically, with the good guys. So there you go. That is AON Shield Maiden, the Riders of Rohan, Commander's deck, Lord of the Rings, for Magic the Gathering. Okay, next up, we have what's called the Food and Fellowship deck. And this key character is Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, holographic card in the box. And on the back, friends until the end, the text reads, from your fellowship and battle for the fate of Middle-earth in Magic's definitive multiplayer format, Frodo and Sam have the ability to partner with one another, allowing them to travel side by side on the field, cook up a whole feast of food tokens to gain life, and fuel Frodo's journey all the way to Mordor. This sounds like less of an attacking deck and more of just like a survivability, like high health deck. So this one just comes with 2+1/+1 counters on the top. The previous deck had a flag counter on it, or flag token on it, which I'm not sure what it's for, but... Alright, on the sides, +1/+1 counters, +1/+1 counters. On the front, another +1/+1 in an archery symbol counter token that I'm not sure what it's for. And also just a regular Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam punch out. I'm not sure what that's for either, but... that's a deck box. I don't need to open that. Leave that in there. Hello? And we'll take the collector's pack out. Counter, that's the rules. Here's the deck. So, Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. Holographic, very cool looking card. He's got Sting in there. Legendary creature, Halfling Scout. He's a 1/3. It says partner with Sam, loyal attendant. He has vigilance. Whenever Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, attacks, you gained 3. If you gained 3 or more life this turn, the ring tempts you. Then, if Frodo is your ring bearer and the ring has tempted you 2 or more times this game, draw a card. So, good way to have cards in your hand. The ring card, we saw it earlier. It's as the ring tempts you, you get more abilities, or more actions, I should say. And if you gain life, he costs 1 white and 1 black mana to cast or to play. The second card is a holographic. It's Sam, loyal attendant, obviously intended to be played together. He costs 1 colorless, 1 green, and 1 white. He's a 2/4. It says partner with Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. When this creature enters the battlefield, target player may put Frodo into their hand from their library, then shuffle. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a food token. It's an artifact with 2 mana. Tap, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. Activated abilities of foods you control cost 1 less to activate. So they go together. You get a bunch of food tokens. You sacrifice food tokens and you gain life. And then with Frodo, when you gain life, the ring tempts you, which gives you more actions with the ring. And you draw cards. So pretty good synergy between Frodo and Sam. Of course, because it's Frodo and Sam. Again, we're not going to go through all 100 cards. I'm just going to grab things that I recognize and things that I think look cool. So here we go. Starting off strong with the Eagles of the North, that we all know, the greatest criticism of Lord of the Rings. Why didn't the Eagle just fly them there immediately? Not how it works. The Eagles are a 3/3, and Landreval, I believe, I don't know if this is true, the king of the Eagles, or the leader of the Eagles, I'm not sure, but Rosie Cotton, Sam's crush, eventually marries a 1/1 halfling peasant. But she creates food tokens, and when you create a token, she gets a +1/+1. So she can buff up pretty nicely. Rondor? Oh no, this is Landreval. Oh well, whatever. I'll leave that in. Give something to comment about, and people call me stupid, which drives engagement, which is great. What else do I recognize in here? Ent. I don't know why this deck gives me like Adam vibes. Field tested frying pan. Kind of funny. Oh, here we go. Why here? Greatest of the Eagles. So maybe not. I thought maybe the card before was the King of the Eagles. I don't know how the Eagles work, but this is Gwai here. It says greatest of the Eagles. So he is this guy. He's a 5/5 flying creature. Legendary creature, bird noble flying. And it looks pretty powerful. It costs 4 and then 1 white. We also have a version of Gollum. Gollum Obsessed Stalker. It costs 1 colorless and 1 swamp. Skulk can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent dealt combat damage this game by a creature named Gollum loses life equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. So that is pretty good synergy with the food tokens. If you gained X number of life, you deal X number of damage if you attack with Gollum. Very cool. Bilbo. There's also a version of Bilbo in this deck. Bilbo, birthday celebrant, cost a white, a black, and a green. He's a 2/3. If you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And if you tap a shitload of mana, exile Bilbo, search your library for any number of creature cards, put them into the battlefield, then shuffle. Activate only if you have 111 or more life. Jesus. So you have to have a shitload of food tokens, have over 111 life, then you can tap a buttload of mana, and then you can play a shitload of creatures. Man. That's kind of crazy. Is the greatest of the great eagles during the Third Age. He is best known for his deeds during the events of the Hobbit and the War of the Ring, descendant of Thorondor. There you go. Here we have a triple stack of cards. We have Merry, Warden of Isengard. We have Pippin, also Warden of Isengard. And we have Treebeard, Gracious Host. All in the deck. Very cool. Bro, the synergy in this deck between all these cards is kind of bonkers. I don't know why I'm getting like Adam vibes. Like maybe Rhodey, but probably Adam vibes from this deck. Warden of Ishgard. Exactly. I think that's kind of whatever. All the lands. And then, of course, at the back of the deck, a second copy of Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit, holographic as well. Bunch of tokens. Yeah. So all in all, a pretty good deck. A lot of synergy between the characters and food tokens. This seems very heavy on food tokens. Sacrificing your food tokens, having really really high health, and then just banging it out. So survivability deck is kind of what I would say. Contingent on partnering your cards. Frodo and Sam together. Merry and Pippin go together. So pretty cool deck. I think we'll send this one out as well to one of the boys. The third Lord of the Rings Commander deck we're opening is called Elven Council. It is led by Galadriel, Elven Queen, the holographic on the front of the box. The back text reads, form your fellowship and battle for the fate of Middle-earth in Magic's definitive multiplayer format. Side with Galadriel and her council of elves and wizards as they call a decision at your commander table. No matter how your opponents vote, your power and wisdom only grow, along with your sizable army. It sounds like there's going to be like some interesting mechanics in this deck. Oh, life wheel. That's what it's for. That's what the wheel is for, is to count your actual life points in person. That program that I was seeing Lupo play on, it counts your life automatically inside the platform, the program platform. But that's for in real life counting your health. We start off a couple +1/+1 counters, as we've seen in the other decks as well. And in this deck, you have what looks like a leaf and a wind token. I don't know what those are. Some more +1/+1s. +1/+1s on either side. That's been pretty consistent throughout the different decks. Got the commander. Or not the commander. What is it? The collectibles. So, first things first, Galadriel, Elven Queen, holographic card. She is the commander. Costs 2 colorless, 1 green and 1 blue. She's a 4/5, and she has Will of the Council. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if another elf entered the battlefield under your control this turn, starting with you, each player votes for Dominion or Guidance. If Dominion gets more votes, the ring tempts you. Then you put a +1/+1 counter on your ring bearer. If Guidance gets more votes, or the vote is tied, you draw a card. So this is again based around the card of the ring that gives you more actions based on how often the ring tempts you. And this seems like a win-win. Like the ring tempts you, so you get better actions, and you get a +1/+1 on your ring bearer. And if it's not, you draw a card. So more cards in your hand is good. So that's Galadriel, Elven Queen. Gandalf is the second holographic card. Gandalf, Westward Voyager. Cool looking art for Gandalf. He's a 5/5 wizard, of course. Costs 3 colorless, 1 green and 1 blue. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals a top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. A copy of a permanent spell becomes a token. That seems it seems complicated. These are some complicated actions, I think. Maybe not complicated, probably just a lot to keep track of, I think is probably more accurate. It's be lot to keep track of. Elves. Elves. The Mirror of Galadriel. What else is worth talking about in here? You gotta have a ring bearer, so it's gotta be a Frodo or a Bilbo. I mean, do you count Sam for that little bit? Here's Arwen. Haldir. Not idly do the leaves of Lorien fall. In Lord of the Rings terms, a deck with Galadriel and Gandalf clears all. Are you talking about like meta-wise? Is that what you mean? This one caught my eye. We have an Arwen card. Warrior of Hope. Oh, Weaver of Hope, I'm sorry. Each other creature you control enters the battlefield with a number of additional +1/+1 counters on it equal to Arwen's toughness. She starts as a 2/1. So presumably there are other cards in this deck that will boost Arwen, so you can have some wicked +X counters when she comes into play, depending what you've done previously in the game. A basic version of Legolas. It's Legolas Greenleaf on this card. It's a regular non-holographic or whatever, just a basic version. A 2/2 Elf Archer. He has reach. Can't be blocked by creatures with a power 2 or less. Whenever another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 on Legolas. And when he deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's pretty powerful for a basic, honestly. Only costs 2 colorless and 1 green. Pretty good. Galadriel and Gandalf are both ring bearers, technically. Just in lore terms. Oh yeah, Galadriel and Gandalf together? Oh, absolutely. I think the cards in these have to say ring bearer, technically, to be an actual ring bearer. These cards do not say ring bearer. I'm sure we'll cross a ring bearer in this deck somehow, because you kind of have to. There's a Radagast, and I'm going to move Radagast next to Elrond, just for the sake of this video. We also have a basic version of Elrond of the Elf Council. And Radagast, Wizard of the Wilds. Both basic versions of the card. Elrond a 3/3, Radagast a 3/5. Elrond also has a complicated text of Secret Council. And you vote for a creature to control. And there's some mechanics in this deck that seem like they get pretty complicated. And that you gotta like really keep track of. This deck seems like you got to be smart with it. This seems like this actually feels like a U deck, Dustin. This feels like a U deck. Fucking making us vote on shit. Or maybe an outlaw deck. Well, I feel like outlaw deck, maybe the first deck, where it's just big army attack. This seems like a U deck, like complicated mechanics, a lot of actions, a lot of text, like you got to pay attention to. This feels like a U deck. I'm not sure if I'm misreading you here, but I'm just getting that vibe. And then these are all the a shitload of land. And then, of course, the back of the deck, another Galadriel. Different holographic colors on this one. This is more blue background. The first one at the front of the deck is more of a white background. Cool looking card, though. Complicated equals has to be Dustin. I mean, yeah. I'm not saying it's complicated. I'm just saying it's a lot to keep track of. I didn't see a ring bearer in here. I feel like if Galadriel has ring bearer actions, the ring tempts you. But who's the ring bearer? There was a ring card. So you need a ring bearer. Or do you just name you can just name a random character to be a ring bearer, maybe. Maybe you can name anyone to be ring bearer. Because I didn't see a Bilbo or a Frodo or a Sam in this deck. So yeah, I guess you can name anyone to be ring bearer, including Galadriel or Gandalf. This also seems like a me deck. I think this deck could be Dustin or myself. I could see myself playing this deck for sure. I see the food deck, the Hobbit deck, being Adam or Rhodey. I see the Aragorn deck being either myself or Rhodey or Outlaw. I see this deck only being Dustin or myself. I don't see anybody else playing something like this besides Dustin or myself, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like Rhodey's deck would be a big army me attack kind of deck, you know? The final Lord of the Rings Commander Precon deck is the Hosts of Mordor. Sauron, Lord of the Rings, is the holographic on the front of the box. You can see it right there. And the back reads, command Mordor's might with Sauron and call forth nightmarish beasts to crush the allied kingdoms. Should your forces of darkness fall, return them from the grave to serve you once more. This is giving very zombie vibes. Very zombie deck vibes here. This is one I wanted to keep for myself because Sauron, but this has Rhodey written all over it as well. Starting off, a couple +1/+1 counters. Common theme with all of these. The extra counters are this little swirly thing that I still don't know what it does. Another +1. Of course. 8 +1/+1 counters on the sides. So the commander for this deck is Sauron. He's a big boy, and he's very expensive. 5 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, and 1 red. He's a 9/9. Strength, toughness, legendary creature, avatar horror. The art is super cool. I'm going to do this again just for the art. Super cool art on the holographic for Sauron. When you cast this spell, amass Orcs 5, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. He has trample, and whenever a commander an opponent control dies, the ring tempts you. He also goes with Saruman, the White Hand, is the second big card in this deck. They go together, I assume. Saruman costs 1 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red. He's a 2/5 Avatar Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, amass Orcs X, where X is that spell's mana value. Put X +1/+1 counter on any army you control. It's also an orc. If you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black orc army creature token first. Goblins and orcs you control have ward 2. So these guys go together. Sauron and Saruman, of course. This is a basic card, but it's a big boy. I just enjoy it. The Troll of Khazad-dûm. They have a mountain troll. A 6/5 troll. Can't be blocked by 3 or more creatures. Except by 3 or more creatures, excuse me. 5 colorless and 1 black cost. Mana cost. Oh, the Mouth of Sauron. This is cool. This is just a cool random basic card. The Mouth of Sauron. Pretty cool art from the Mouth of Sauron. 3 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black. Legendary creature. He's a 3/4. And his text read, when the Mouth of Sauron enters the battlefield, target player mills 3 cards. Then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of instant and sorcery card in that player's graveyard. Put X +1/+1 counters on an army you control. If it's an orc, you do the 0/0 black army thing. So Mouth of Sauron, very cool card. Just a cool looking card as well for this deck. Oh, Shelob. Another card I recognize of the 100. Shelob, of course. Dread Weaver is the title of the card. 3 colorless, 1 black. She's a 3/2 or 3/3. I'm sorry. Legendary creature, Spider Demon, and there's some +1/+1 counters and things like that with her text. Here's 2 in a row that I recognized. The Balrog of Moria. Really cool looking art. Look at that. Expensive. 4 colorless, 2 black and a red. But he's an 8/8 legendary creature. Avatar demon. Very cool art for the Balrog. Trample and haste. Now, when it dies, you exile it. And when you do, for each opponent, exile up to 1 target creature that player controls. And you create some tokens with that. And then, of course, Prima. Sauron's Footman. 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 black. He's a 1/4. Almost like a wall, really. Can't be blocked. And he's got a complicated action as well. No Shopro even thinks he's passing. What? Ooh, I don't know what that means. We also have the Lord of the Nazgul. Look at that art. Oh, God, this art. All these art is so fucking cool. Lord of the Nazgul. He's a 4/3 flying. Wraiths have protection from ring bearers. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black wraith creature token with menace. Then, if you control 9 or more wraiths, wraiths have a base power and toughness of 9/9 until the end of your turn. Holy shit. The Balrog, yeah, I got you. This, I think, is technically a land card, but it's the Black Gate. And it just looks really, really cool. It taps for mana. So, kind of cool, though. Black Gate. This deck is cool, bro. This deck has me or Rhodey written all over it, I think. Yeah, I don't know who to send these to, though. Like, I'm not, like, we gotta ask if people are gonna actually be into it, but... I want to see the alternate art for Sauron. It's actually the same. So the back of the deck is another Sauron. It's a little more holographic than the front one. I'm not sure how these actually work, of why they're different, but this one looks a little cooler than the front one. Second copy of Sauron, Lord of the Rings. That's probably why it's in the back, to protect it a little more. So there you go. Those are the 4 Lord of the Rings Commander decks for Magic the Gathering. I got to figure out which one I want to keep, and then we're going to send the other 3 out to the boys. We're going to get some Commander games in. Love it.